original song. As Ashworth reveals, the rigorous process behind writing Speak Now reflects the strong sense of conviction that guides all of his output. Whether I'm working with an artist or writing on my own, I always want to find the absolute truth in what we're trying to get across, he says. In songwriting, it can be very easy to settle, but I'm passionate about doing everything I can not to create more noise or fluff, especially at a time that's oversaturated with the recycling of beats and lyrics and chord progressions. My compass is pointed toward doing better than that, and always asking myself, what's the purpose of this song? Why should this song get the chance to live? At the end of the day, I want to feel that I'm a part of putting more good out into the world. Having landed his first cut at the age of 17, Ashworth has spent his life building a kaleidoscopic and increasingly vibrant career. Along with co-writing hits like H.E.R.'s Grammy Award-nominated Top 40 smash, Hard Place, he's produced records for an eclectic range of artists, including his wife, singer-songwriter Rubia Manfu, released 4 solo projects, lent his background vocals to songs by superstars like Norah Jones, and served as a session player on countless tracks across all genres. Won't you give me a big virtual round of applause welcoming Sam Ashworth to today's Songwriters Hall of Fame Master Session at Stuyvesant High School. All right, welcome.
That was so cool, man. It was like, this is your life.
Thank you so much for being with us today. We are super excited to have you, and these kids are just so thrilled to be sharing their music with you. So, thank you
man,
from New York City.
Thank you. I'm thrilled to be here. I'm thrilled to hear all these songs. This is so cool. I really appreciate it.
It's our pleasure. So I'd like to start off by asking you, 1 or 2 questions about yourself. First of all, having read your entire bio, I'm being very impressed with it, and also, being a fan of some of that Brit rock music. What was your favorite XTC song?
Oh gosh, I mean, I could go all the way back to like Helicopter, which is like way back in the day. But the album that really put me onto them was None Such. I mean, that came out in '92, I think. That was when I became a fan. And so then I went back and got, everything else from that point. I mean, this was the time of CDs. So I went back and I bought, every CD.
Incredible music, right?
Every CD they had ever put out. And Andy Partridge, who is the main songwriter of the group, he quickly became one of the most influential songwriters for me. And yeah, I mean, I honestly, there are just way too many songs of theirs, that I would say probably changed my life in some way, changed my trajectory in some way or another. It was unlike anything I'd ever heard before.
So many deep musicians that that I've had the pleasure to know over the years, they all love XTC. So King for a Day is one of my favorites.
Oh, it's a brilliant song. I mean, yeah, they're definitely one of those groups that probably have more fans they're more musician fans than
Yeah.
It's definitely nerdy music, but
yeah. I noticed that you play a lot of instruments, and that you grew up in a musical family. Can you tell us a little bit about what it was like to grow up in a musical household where your dad would throw you into these incredible recording sessions when you were just a little kid?
Yeah. Well, I have no idea what it's like to live any sort of other life. So for me, it was just life. Music was everywhere. Whether it was my dad in the living room writing songs on the piano, or me spending every possible minute I could in the studio. After school, I would just go in the studio and just sit and watch, some of the greatest musicians in the world, playing sessions. And just, I learned I just learned so much through observation, that I think was kind of I know it was a priceless education. I mean, I was able to, at a really young age, see where the bar was, and see where the sort of bar of excellence was. And watching people work who were, 20, 30 years older than me, I think was a crucial part of my development. I think I know that, it's a lot of folks don't get that opportunity, to really just see where, if you want to do this, this is where you got to get, someday. This is the level. And that to me was the greatest blessing about, growing up in that environment, was, not only just the inspiration, but the sort of the kind of kick in the pants to, like, say, this is how hard you got to work if you really want to make a life out of this music stuff, and have a career. um but yeah, and then, getting thrown into sessions at a really young age. I mean, I did my first backing vocal session when I was like about 8 or 9 years old. Just crazy stuff like that. But my dad, I mean, he always believed in me, and he was the first person that always championed, what I did, and believed in me more than I did in myself, for a long time. And so he always kind of knew that, somehow he knew that I would be able to rise to the occasion. And there was, you know a lot of times it would look like, oh, I just got home from school or from football practice, or whatever I was doing at the time, and it'd be like, hey, grab your guitar, or hey, I need you to come out and sing on something. So it was always like, or hey, I need you to jump on guitar on this session today with, all these A-list players, and I'd be in, my teens or 20s or something, but still just trying to find myself as a musician. And, and I didn't have a proper education as far as, learning theory and learning to read charts and sight reading and all that stuff. So for me, I was always just playing by ear. But I was forced into these situations. um, well, let me say, I was given the opportunity to be in these situations, um, and where I just had to step up. So I would be the one, everyone else would have their number charts on the session, and then I would be sitting there frantically, transferring the numbers to letters so that I could play the chart down. But then, of course, then they go, oh, well, we need to change the key. And because of the Nashville number system, it's so easy to just go like, yeah, 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 and everything remains the same. But then I'd have to then redo everything else. So I was always in this sort of state of panic, which kind of, kept me on my toes. And I was always giving my best, because I wanted to, I didn't want to be the one dragging down the sessions, and I wanted to sort of feel like I belonged. Um, but it definitely, yeah, that lifestyle, it made all of it, it just got me working really young. So I've been doing all this for a long, long time now.
Yeah, it's incredible, childhood experience.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
if I know that you have your own children now. We were talking a little bit before we got on the
Yeah.
call here, and for these kids in New York City, there are both live opportunities, and there are like other opportunities now that the internet provides. Like, what do you think might be the most important piece of advice that you could give to them as they're coming up, in terms of sharing their music and maybe honing their skills and getting their chops together?
Well, there's a lot of answers to that question, I think. For me, I think that the the most important thing is that if you have a passion, if it's like, whether it's writing, it's producing, it's playing guitar, piano, drums, whatever instrument it may be, whatever that thing in music that sparks that sort of otherworldly feeling, like to me, there's just no, there is no other feeling in this life than the feeling of creating, or the feeling of feeling connected to an instrument, and being able to express yourself through an instrument. And so I think that for me, that the first and foremost thing that just is above every other piece of advice you could possibly get is that if you feel connected to passion in any realm of music, then you have to honor that. That's a gift. And the connection to the music, the passion for it, that is a gift, and that doesn't come to everyone. I mean, we are all given different gifts and talents, but this music thing, this ability to create is such a gift. And so for me, I just feel that it's our responsibility to honor that gift that you've been given. And that doesn't mean work yourself to the bone till you can't think straight anymore and you don't have any friends left because you've alienated yourself, trying to give everything you have to this thing. There's balance, have the balance to your life, but honor the craft, honor the gift that has been given to you. And what I mean by that is put the time in, put the work in, and don't give up. That to me is honoring the gift, is the not giving up piece of it. And I have had a rocky road of a career. I've been up and down and up and down. And ever since my late teens, it's just been a roller coaster. And I've had downs that just felt like I can't do this anymore, and there were times that I had convinced myself that I needed to walk away and find a real job, so that I could support my family, so I could, have some stability and all that kind of stuff. But I even when I sort of walked away from things for a little while, I came back to it because the music was in my heart. I couldn't deny it, and I had to honor it. And I didn't, you just, no one knows when their break is going to come, when that thing. And what I mean by break is like that thing that could happen in your career that maybe other things just start pivoting off of, and other dominoes kind of come off of that. And it's you just don't, you have no idea when that's going to come. I mean, and for me, I've had several of those different experiences. But I mean, to everything that's happened up to this point, even as recent as the Oscar nomination and this stuff, it's like I can trace every step of the way that led to this point, and everyone I met along the way that I never meet people or work with people with the mindset of like, what's going to come from this, what could I get from this person, or what might come next from this. I never think in those ways. I just trust that I'm in the right place at the right time, and sometimes nothing may come of it, but then other times it may be, oh, a year later, and that person I met a year ago is calling, asking me to do this thing that I very much want to be a part of, and so it's be kind to people, be kind to yourself, and honor your gifts and talents, and don't give up, and like, seriously, everything will be okay,
Right.
when you do those things. It really will. I just think that good work and perseverance and kindness, you will be rewarded for that in some way, shape, or form. We'd have no idea what that will mean, but that is truth.
Great words of advice. Thank you.
Yeah,
So would you like to hear some music from our kids?
I absolutely would.
All right, awesome. So we're going to start with Catherine Janau. She's from Wadley Arts, and the song is This Is Who I Want to Be.
This is me. 2024 me was a challenge year. Death and drama all around me. All these problems in my head, sitting in my pain. I finally got my wings, but I'm scared to try. For too long you held me down. Now it's time to fly. My eyes tell the why and what's worthwhile. I wanna change my lifestyle and be that one to be. To be the same, love and justice for all. We don't get respected, give or not take. The world keeps moving. I got one more reason. Eyes tell the why and what's worthwhile. I wanna change my lifestyle and be the me I want to be. Known to inspire and be the difference I want to see. I want to be, I want to be. This is the me I want to be.
All right, nice a round of applause. What do you think?
Beautiful.
Gorgeous song.
I loved it. I mean, I just
Thank you.
I'm a big fan of honesty. And so, you know, when you're speaking in these ways that it's so vulnerable, you know. I think we lost her. Oh no.
No, she's there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Camera's on. Okay.
Yeah.
You know, it just takes a lot of guts to speak honestly and vulnerably like that. And so I have so much respect for that and the hopefulness, you know. I'm a sucker for that. We got to have more hopeful songs in this world, you know. And so I applaud you for putting that out there and wearing your heart on your sleeve. And I just think it's super cool. I'm not sure
Thank you so much.
Yeah, I don't want to pick anything apart in a clinical sort of way or anything like that. I just want to encourage you because it's great work. It really is.
Catherine, do you have any questions that you want to ask? I know that you have to get to an appointment. I know that that you're outside right now, and we appreciate you being here. Is there anything that you want to ask before you have to go?
I'll ask a question. Like, is there anything like I need to change or to improve?
I mean, see, this is tough. You know, I believe until you feel that I believe that until you feel nothing needs to be improved, then nothing needs to be improved. Like if there is something inside of you that says, I don't know if that one line could be a little sharper, a little bit more on point, or if that melody could be tightened up a little bit. Like if you if you feel any inclination, you know, that not all the pieces are completely in place yet, then you need to pursue that. You know, I mean, I could tell you from a very clinical standpoint, you know, of like, well, maybe tighten this up a little bit, tighten that up a little bit. But I think that I would rather see you follow your heart with those things, you know, and at this point, you know, at this point in your development, don't take too much outside influence. You know, don't take too much criticism. I think that the way we find our voice as songwriters is to just do it over and over and over and over and over again. And the more volume, you know, of songs that you create, the closer you come to that ability to self-criticize and be able to know, you know what, that doesn't feel quite sharp enough yet, you know. And I think that I think it's a much better thing for it to come from you, because the thing is it's all opinion. All of this, you know, songwriting is like, you know, you could write in the most untraditional song form possible, but it could be the most beautiful thing anyone's ever heard, you know. Or you could write the most traditional block by block, verse, chorus, bridge, chorus out pop song, you know, and it could be amazing too. But there's just so many ways to go about this business of writing, you know, this lifestyle of writing. And I think that it's just about putting more and more and more and more out there, and not being too precious about every one along the way. Because, you know, at this point in my career, I still have to write. Sometimes I still got to write like 3 or 4 that are just like, okay, to get to the one I'm super, super proud of, you know. And I just think that if you feel locked in, like, you know, this is like, this could be one of my greatest artistic statements, but it's just, I'm not sure if it's all the way there. Listen to yourself, listen to your heart in that, and pursue those things, you know. And yeah, that's all I got for you.
Great advice.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Great work.
Thank you, Catherine. One more big round of applause. We need some dialogue, some sound effects here. All right. So next up, we have, we ready to hear another one?
Mm-hmm.
This is Daniel Gian, and he's from Stuyvesant High School, and this is called Time, Lime, Dime.
Okay.
Help me right here. Time is moving so fast. I thought it was 3 o'clock, but it was actually 7 o'clock. Whoa, hold up. Time, I beg you please. Time, I beg you please. Stop moving, yeah. Hold up, I beg. Hold up, I beg, yeah. And stop moving so fast. You are too good. Why don't you tell me? Why don't you tell me yes or no? Just wait. Hey, I just want an answer. The feeling of the shotgun going fast is bad. That's just me so good. Yeah, that's not good. Oh my God.
Beautiful, beautiful song. I think you're muted right now.
There we
All right,
go.
there we go.
Hey, nice one, man. So
Thank you.
have you so you is there everyone written these on their own? Well, not a couple of people have collaborated, but Daniel, you wrote that on your own?
Yeah, I wrote that on my own. I was just like feeling like it, and I don't know if I'm like, I kind of got this influence like from like Bob Dylan, like you know like
Yeah.
how he just wrote his pieces just like all in his head. I was just
Yeah.
feeling like it because there'd be times where like I feel like time is going so fast, and like just like I'm just like on my desk, I'm just like looking at the clock, right? It just keeps going. I'm just like, man, like this like feeling is like it's going too quick. Like I
Yeah.
feel like it's so fleeting. Life is so fleeting. And so I
Mm.
just wanted to like I got like 4 chords, just like a
Mhm.
basic chords, and then I just like sang it on my phone, and then kind of like put air conditioner on. I try to like make it sound like it's like kind of homey, and yeah, it's kind of like that.
It certainly does. Yeah, it's like I'm glad you mentioned the Bob Dylan thing. I totally get that. And it's like it's sort of like it to me it feels more like a piece of your diary, you know, and the but with like some smooth R&B chords, you know, behind it.
Yeah.
And it's almost like it's like folk in the sense of lyrically, and it's like sharing your mind and storytelling in the way that it's like a bit stream of consciousness, you know, and I think that's really cool. You know, it lives right where it needs to live, you know. I think that I would love to hear it recorded, you know, or hear it produced, and hear what you could do to sort of um, bring some more intentionality to the sections, you know. I think there's a way to do the stream of conscious lyrically and still feel like the sections are uniquely their own. And I don't know if you were going for having a necessarily a verse and a chorus, or if it's more just kind of an all verses sort of song, which I'm totally down with that too, because I've done plenty of that. You know, like I said before, it's like there's no rules to this thing, you know, and it's you know, whatever moves you is what you got to write. You know, I spent way too long trying to do what other people were doing until I was able to find out what I needed to do, you know, and find my own voice. And when that happened, things started happening, you know, for me. And so that's why I'm such a believer and a pusher of this idea that you got to make music for you, and if you're feeling it and you're feeling passionate, you're right where you need to be. But yeah, keep at it, man.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Had a little bit of a John Mayer vibe too, as well, in your voice. Really, really beautiful.
Gravity, stop the train.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah, great work, man.
Are we ready to hear another student?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, we have Ezra and Matthew and Travis and their band, and this is called "Seen Many Things."
Okay. man, y'all, that just especially, I'm still on, right? Okay. That just especially fires me up because that's how I got started. I fronted bands, played drums in bands. You know, my whole high school experience and post high school experience into my 20s, you know, I was writing my own songs and fronting bands here in Nashville and playing in clubs. And you know, I think that this brings a really important point up for me, in that the collaboration, you know, especially at this stage in all of your lives and the beginning of your careers, you know, is that you, when you're collaborating with other people, when you're putting together bands and you're making music like this, like it's like a crash course, you know, because you're all bouncing off of each other, you're bouncing ideas off of each other, you're having the nerves together before you do the shows, you know, you're getting you know, which really also, you know, brings up the point that, you know, when you're to perform these songs, all of you to perform these songs live for people, you know, you hear your own songs in a different way. You know, I'm sure you've all experienced this at some point where you can sit on your own and play a song, you know, and you think, yeah, I know this song really well. I know what I'm trying to get across. I know what I'm trying to make people feel. And then you perform it for one person, for 10 people, for 20, you know, whatever it is. And then you hear it. It's like you hear it back in a different way. And you're able to gauge reaction, you know, from an audience, no matter how many people there are, but you're able to sort of like maybe go back after, you know, the next day or so and go, actually, you know what, that part that we were all so stoked about didn't really hit everybody like we thought it would, you know, and or whatever the case may be. But so anyways, that's a side note. I love that you guys are playing together. I think that, you know, it's the way to grow together, to lift each other up, and to have those experiences. I just think I think it's super cool. I thought it was a very worthy song, and I just want to see you guys keep woodshedding. And you know, sorry, that may be an older term, but I just mean, like, you know, stay in it and keep inspiring each other and keep fighting to grow, you know, and push each other for excellence. That's the greatest thing you can do, to be in a band together and play music and write. Are you guys all writing together?
Yeah. Verse, lyrics, and a little bit of the melody.
Okay. What type of stuff are you all inspired by?
Mostly rock. We do, you know, we listen to rap, we listen to pop, we listen to all kinds of music.
Yeah.
We really listen to everything. We kind of like take that and then try to make that our own, and definitely try to make our own stuff.
Diverse in our music, like, and try to incorporate that into our songs, like all the genres.
Yeah, I hear that. There's a lot of different flavors going on, and that's a beautiful thing. Like, don't ever feel like you got to narrow it down to any particular genre, any particular space. You guys just keep exploring, because you're really onto something.
Yeah, they'll find themselves in the process, right? I mean,
absolutely. If y'all heard the music I was making when I was, you know, 16, 17, 18, it's quite different from what I do now, but it was all a part of the journey, you know. And you guys are going to keep finding yourselves, and just don't get hung up on any of that other stuff. Like, what kind of music this is or anything like that. You just go create and have fun.
Yeah, the record label will figure it out at the end. You know,
That's
they'll figure
right.
out how to market.
Somebody else, that's somebody else's job. Yeah.
Yeah, excellent. Great work, guys. Keep it up.
Yeah, great work.
We ready for another? We have a
Absolutely.
very, very talented young lady by the name of Chloe Schiffman and her song Melatonin coming right up.
Awesome.
Melatonin is my diet in a bottle by my bed. My mother says they'll still the voices that are crowding in my head. And I am not a superhero. I can barely count to 10. Stay awake to watch the sunrise, crusted white under my nails. Then I drink in all the colors just to feel like I have failed. And this bitter wash of lilac marks an anxious evening fails. There's a gallery as far as I can see of people I have hurt who come running back to me. I'm sorry. Another night is over, and I guess I made it through. But I'm oh so scared of sleeping, 'cause that means coming back to you. Now I visualize transparency and hope you'll see right through. There's a gallery as far as I can see of people I have hurt who came running back to me. I'm sorry.
Yay!
Just beautiful.
Yeah, man. You know, the first thing that strikes me about that is just the unconventional nature of the arrangement and where the chords go. I think that's really, really cool. You know, just as when I thought you were going to sort of wrap it up and go back into the verse, it just kind of kept going to other places, and it was really beautiful, really beautiful. I love the imagination in it, and I love the sort of non-restrictive feel of the songwriting. I couldn't put you in any kind of box. It feels like it's just something different and something special. And I like the contradiction of the sort of reflective lyrics and talking about the melatonin in the beginning, and you know, and that kind of stuff, but with the happy vibe of the music. I think that's always a really cool thing. For the, you know, when you don't exactly match the lyrical feel with the musical feel, and each is sort of expressing or intending to be their own thing, yet they work together. And you've done that, and you're doing that. So I think that's really cool. A lot of people try and achieve that with their writing, that sort of contradiction. But you're doing that naturally. So it's really, really cool. Yeah, great. It was just great.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you for sharing.
Incredible, Chloe. So we'll have a couple minutes for you guys to ask some questions. We're going to hear one more song. This is Tyler Kipnis, and this is called It's Love.
Find it kinda funny, you so wicked walk and you laugh and change so much. Find it kinda funny if she was a stranger to me, and now it's love, oh it's love. Heading home from the park, phone is low, need a charge, but I'm scrolling through stories. I see this beautiful girl, she's at the park, should've turned and go back so I can see. Yeah, I think that I should, but I think that I'm good. I don't need to waste my time. But she is pretty cute, might as well take a look. Turns out it was worth my while. In a pigtail top coming down that road, made my heart stop when I saw her. Oh, am I dreaming? Find it kinda funny if someone can walk me life and change so much. Find it kinda funny if she was a stranger to me, and now it's love, oh it's love. Yeah, I must confess, I looked like a mess. Threw some clothes on, didn't brush my hair. It was just me and my friend, had no reason to spend time looking good to be fair. But from her lips to her eyes and her hips to her thighs, to the times where it's just us. From the highs and the lows and the cries and the toasts, together we feel so in love. Yesterday, she was no one I knew, but today, I feel something new. Yeah, I can feel it.
Yeah. Nice, man. I love that it's a story song, but it's a love song or a romantic song. It's, about love and feelings and, attraction and all of that. It's very different. I love the sort of highlights in the production, even just the little things of the dreaming part where it kind of goes a little back into the, reverb and stuff like that. It's a great vibe. Just the vibe in general is really cool. There's like so many different influences in there that I'm hearing, from even back to like Van Morrison to present, yeah, I think it's super cool. It's a hard thing to do, to write a compelling love song that's also a story song. And yeah, I find it hard to do that, but yeah, you're doing great work. Like really, I'm blown away by you guys. I mean, this is so cool. You are all just like extremely talented and so different. I love that each song that's been played is so different from the previous one. You all are representing, like many years of music history, showing their influence in all your songwriting, and it's branched out in so many different and cool ways. I'm really impressed by all of you. And I cannot wait to see what you guys are doing 5 years from now. This is so exciting.
It is exciting. Yeah. Thank you so much for taking this in. And would you like to, guys, would you like to ask some questions? I certainly have questions that came in through, the form for the session. But I'd love to give you guys an opportunity first to ask some questions specifically to Sam. So, you guys can just open it up and let's have a little conversation.
And don't worry about it if you don't have any questions. I won't get my feelings hurt.
All right, I can go first.
All right.
All right. So when writing songs, right? You're supposed to like stay true to yourself and such.
Mm-hmm.
Where do you usually draw the line between like, oh, this is like a great thing that the public can relate to versus like, this is a really specific thing that's super important to me, but maybe like no one else will understand. It might not be that good of a song. I phrased that a little oddly.
That's okay.
Yeah.
I think I'm tracking with you. I think that at your, I think at your stage in this journey, it is the most important to stay true to yourself and to stay true to what, you know, and I mean, and that's like, that could be a really sort of blanket thing to say, but what I mean by that is if when you write something, does it feel true? You know, so it's not, it's like, it's hard to really probably pinpoint what's being true to myself. You know, maybe one doesn't know that, you know, just yet, but it's just a gut thing. It's a gut feeling. And so I think for me, what I'm trying to get across to you all is that this is the time in your lives where you trust your gut, because that's how you find your voice. You know, this is the time when you do that. And when you get to, you know, where I am, it's like, you know, I got a lot of outside voices at this point. You know, I got a lot of people with opinions, you know, and I've got a lot of opinions of my own. And I'm the biggest critic of myself, you know, sometimes so much that it's hard to even get stuff down on paper because I block it before it even comes out. So what I'm trying to tell you is that trusting your gut and following what feels true to you. If you finish a song and you say, this feels like me, then that is all that matters right now. Because, you know, learning how to navigate the business and writing for different genres and writing for film and TV and all that kind of stuff, all that's going to come naturally, you know. And the more you're able to establish your own voice, the more that all of those opportunities will be open to you, because you will be bringing something that no one else has, which is you. And the more you like fully get your heart and your head around who you are, then that is, you know, that's your currency. That you being you is your currency and what makes you different from everyone else. I'm not sure if I answered your question, but I'm just, you know, it's like, my main point is I don't want you to get hung up right now about, you know, please tell me, you were saying writing, the contradiction of writing for yourself and what was specifically that
like writing for yourself versus writing for other people.
Yeah. So that's all I'm trying to say. I think that that those times will come when they're supposed to come, and the more you understand yourself and your own artistry, you know, the more you will be ready and poised for those positions when they do come.
Yeah, excellent, great advice. We have a couple of hands up. Ezra, your hand was up first.
Yeah, one quick question. What would you say your big break and could help others to get your music, you know, to the public ears? What do you think really propelled that?
My big break. I mean, you know, like you all saw in the very beginning, you know, I had a song that was recorded when I was very young. And I might say that that's how I sort of entered into the business, really, but I wouldn't say it was my big break. It was a successful moment, but I wasn't ready to know how to pivot from that moment and continue to grow my career from there. So, you know, it took another 10 years or so of really slugging away and working hard to, you know, get to the next place. And I would say, I mean, it's tricky because my biggest break has to do with, you know, being with a publisher and having a publishing deal, which I was asked right after I signed with a company called Downtown Music Publishing, which is headquartered in New York. Awesome company. I just recently signed with them, and they asked me if I wanted to go to Iceland, to a songwriting camp in Iceland, where there was going to be just a lot of pop songwriters from all over the world at this thing. And so I said yes. It was like 2 weeks away, and I had no idea how I was like going to figure it all out, you know, with my kids and all that stuff. And I didn't know anybody there, you know, and it was the first writing camp I ever did. And so, you know, if you have any idea what like summer camp is like, and you know, stuff like that, where you show up and you may not know anybody and you got to spend a week and make new friends and all that, you know, so I went to that camp and ended up just making like really amazing and substantive relationships there, and came away with a couple of new best friends. And, you know, one of my best friends is Swagger Silius. He's executive producer and produced, you know, the first two H.E.R projects. And at the time, you know, none of that stuff had gotten off the ground yet. And so he and I became friends. We started working together from a distance. I got looped, you know, H.E.R, the artist H.E.R, she had heard one of my songs that Swag was working on, because I was actually just putting out a project for myself. So hence, this is why I'm always talking about the making music for yourself. And because I had written a song for myself, she heard it, she wanted to record it, and that didn't end up happening. But what ended up happening is I went to New York and spent a week writing with her and my buddy Swag, who I'd met in Iceland from a camp I was invited to go. I didn't know anybody yet. And now, okay, to this day, you know, we've written a lot of songs together now at this point. And I ended up with 10 songs, you know, or 9 songs on her Grammy nominated album. So it's like these kinds of things that you just, you know, you say yes to opportunities. You know, you all are in a place where you say yes, just say yes to the opportunities, you know, even if it freaks you out, even if it makes you nervous, even if it makes you feel like, I don't know if I can do this. I mean, I went to that camp thinking, I don't know if I can do this. You know, even as much experience as I had had at that point, I still felt like, you know, I don't know if I can do it. But I said yes. And the things that are happening in my career now have all jumped off of that point, you know, from working with her. And then I ended up signing another deal with Universal, who is H.E.R's publisher. And then because of that experience, I was invited to, by one of my guys at Universal, Walter Jones, offered to have me go to this writing camp for Leslie Odom Jr. And because of that relationship, I said yes to that camp. I went there, and we ended up writing, you know, I ended up having 4 songs on his last album. Because of that relationship, we worked together for One Night in Miami, and all of that happens. So I'm saying all this to say that, you know, no matter what the nerves are, no matter any of it, just say yes to opportunities, because, you know, and don't think too hard about where it's going to go.
That's great advice.
And I think that, yeah, I mean, so I've had a lot of different breaks, I guess is what I'm trying to say. But my point is you never know when they're going to come and how they're going to come. and what they look like.
Yeah, brilliant. Tyler, your hand was up next.
Yeah, I mean, just what do you think about, like, as a songwriter, how important do you think it is to be going to a college that has a really strong songwriting program that you can surround yourself around versus just a really strong music program in general, and then working on your own music on the side? Like, how important do you think that aspect of college would be?
That's a great question and a tricky question for me because I am uneducated in the sense of college. You know, I went to one semester of college and it was just core classes. So, but my situation is very different because I grew up inside of this. I've been in the education since I was a little boy, and so, you know, but my wife went to music school, you know, and she did songwriting classes, you know, and it was a great experience for her. I think so, you know, I can't tell you from my own experience, and I try not to like say much about things I haven't experienced. I would say that the importance of getting that music education, whether it is for a particular instrument, whether it's, you know, whether it's for vocals or whether it's for songwriting or production or whatever it is, it's the people that you meet. You know, that is what it's all about. It's the people that, you know, it's the camaraderie, and it's the endless opportunities for collaboration and inspiring each other, and the growth that can happen when you have some sense of like a like healthy competition, you know, where you feel like, oh my, like just like today, you know, you all are hearing all your songs, you know, and you're going, oh, whoa, hey, I didn't know they did that. Or, oh, that's so cool. And I guarantee you that at least some of you are feeling that feeling like, oh man, I got to start working on my next song right now. Like I'm inspired, I'm pumped up from hearing my peers do their thing, you know? And so it's like, I would think you just want to continue that on because you all are sort of in this space right now. And that is, for me, someone who's uneducated as far as higher education goes, and, you know, with college and university and stuff, I know that I wouldn't be who I am. I wouldn't be the creator that I am had I not experienced so much collaboration and healthy competition and camaraderie with all the people that I came up with, you know? And so I think that in this great big world, you know, we can connect with each other on online, but there's just nothing like being there together, and the energy that I know is a music school, you know, whether you're in the songwriting department or not, but you know, the energy of that and the camaraderie and the inspiration that could come with that, I think is unmatched. So I don't think you can go wrong, whether you know, go in for a songwriting degree or any other instrument or any other area of music. I just think it's about who you connect with while you're there.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. We have time for one more question. I want to honor your time. I mean, we're technically a couple minutes over. All right, Daniel, do you want to go for it?
Yeah. So, how is it like to be, you know, based off of Nashville? I was actually born in Nashville, and so, you know, I want to.
What?
Yeah. So.
No way.
Yeah. How is it there? And you know, how is the music industry? I know it's like the home of country music or something.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's a great question. And I wasn't born here, but I spent my whole life here. My family moved here when I just, like, right before I turned 9 years old. So I've spent my whole life here. It's home. But you know, I was always like kind of an oddball here. Honestly, it took me a long time to fit in. I'm not sure that I even fit in now, but I'm, made my own name for myself doing my own thing. And, but it's because I didn't write country music, as a songwriter trying to be a career songwriter, trying to make that my job, took a really long time. I had, I had years and years and years of going and trying to get meetings down in Music Row, and and meetings with publishers, and because I was always just different, I liked different kinds of music, I XTC, it's like I was just sort of the fish out of water, and so I would often get replies like, well, we love your music, we're fans, but we kind of already have someone who's left a center on our roster. So, we're good. We can't sign you, or whatever. And so that's what I experienced a lot growing up in Nashville and trying to build my career here, because this was, it's a very different city now. Very, very different. I've watched it go from being pretty closed-minded when it comes to music and who to invest in, to, we have people coming through here all the time, R&B, pop, I mean, there's just so much different. It's just such a different climate now. And I think that you can come here and build a career really doing any kind of music now. It's just, there's a much bigger and more open mind here. And we have so many interesting people that have moved here in the last, 10, 20 years. So it was a very different place when I was growing up. It was hard, but so I just did my own thing. I had my own bands, played in clubs, I did what felt good to me and made me happy. But it was certainly hard to get a look when it came to the business part of it and trying to get signed to a publishing deal. That took a very, very, very long time. And I had a lot of doors closed on me, or windows just barely cracked, but still it was very, very hard. And so, yeah, it was like, took nothing but just perseverance.
Yeah, perseverance, right? And
Yeah.
and something that I want to echo that you've been talking about, which is, do it for love first,
Yeah.
Because that's really what you've been mentioning is, you
Yeah.
find that thing that excites you, right? As a
Yeah.
writer.
And that's why I keep harping on that, you guys, because as hard as this business is, because the business part of it is hard, the creating shouldn't be. The creating should, it gets hard. Writing songs is hard. You're going to be stressed. You're going to be frustrated. You go, why can't I find the words I need for this verse? Or why does this chorus not sound right yet? I can't figure it out, but that's hard, but it should be joyful. It should be, the experience should be joyful, even in the frustration. There should be gratitude for even having the talent, and the desire to even be trying to make things better and trying to get better at your craft. But the business is very hard. The business part of it, it's hard. And so if you don't have the passion, it's not going to be fun. It's not going to be a good experience. And you're going to end up saying, you know what, this doesn't work. And so I don't want to see that happen to any of you. I want to see you just continue on and persevere inside of the passion.
Yeah, it's very inspiring. Well, thank you so much. I'm going to play a quick thank you reel. And if you guys will stay on, we'll play the reel. I'll cut the feed to YouTube, and then we can be on for another moment afterwards. So
okay.
Hang on just one sec. Today's Songwriters Hall of Fame Master Sessions at Stuyvesant High School would not have been possible without the talent, foresight, wisdom, and outreach of dedicated members of the Songwriters Hall of Fame New York Education Committee. I would like to personally thank Linda Moran, President and CEO of the Songwriters Hall of Fame, April Anderson, Marketing and Communications Director of the Songwriters Hall of Fame, Francesca McAuliffe, AP of World Languages, Art, and Music here at Stuyvesant High School, as well as Sing Yu, our principal, for their support and encouragement in putting today's event together. A big shout out to Simone Dixon, David Gray, Ari Gellaw, and Kaylee Smith from Universal Music Publishing Group, Shira Gans from the Mayor's Office of Media and Entertainment, and last but not least, Liz Guglielmo, Callie McGlone, and Robert Lamont from the Office of Arts and Special Projects. Keep up the amazing work. Stay healthy, everyone, and keep the faith. Until next time.